I was 17 years old and I'd just earned my release from my 15th century boarding school. I had 10 months free before having to go to college, so I got a job in Southern California as a busboy, and I saved up enough money to spend 4 months traveling around Central and South America with a school friend from London. We went down to Tijuana and got into a bus. We bumped through Mexico and Guatemala. And then from Cartagena on Colombia's Caribbean coast, we jounced down through Ecuador and Peru to La Paz in Bolivia. From there, we flew to Brazil and we traveled up the east coast of South America. We separated near the Amazon and I went up alone to Suriname and then Trinidad and Barbados before flying to Miami and taking a Greyhound bus back to California. As a teenager, all I wanted was to experience everything I couldn't have dreamed of at school, to ride horses through the jungle to see pre-Columbian statues on lonely hills, to stay in a rock-bottom hotel where it turned out that all the other guests, rather surprisingly, were very attractive young women staying on their own, to sleep outside the airport in Paramaribo night after night amidst the trees. Even once I was back in the US, to take the Greyhound across the country and stop off to see 3 movies for $1 on July the 4th in Dallas, Texas. My interest was in the quantity of experiences I could gather, much more than the quality. I wanted to taste as much as I could before succumbing to classrooms again and textbooks. I hadn't worked out yet that it's better to dig 1 ditch that's 60 foot deep than 10 ditches that are 6 foot deep each. Or that it's generally a single experience or morning that ultimately transforms your life. Many years later, however, I noticed that the one place that had really stayed with me from that bus-propelled trip was a place I hadn't much registered at the time, La Paz, Bolivia. I couldn't stop thinking of the bowler-hatted women laboring up steep slopes in colored ponchos with their goods slung over their backs, of the lunar rock formations not so far from the heart of the city, of the faces, worn and weathered in what remains the most indigenous nation on the continent, where many people don't even speak Spanish. And so, 27 years after that first trip, I flew down again to La Paz. But this time, I wanted to go nowhere. I just wished to treat La Paz as my hometown for a couple of weeks. I still had articles to write, books to read, people to contact back home, but I thought maybe it would be more fun to do that in this magical Andean city than just sitting in my living room. I took a room in one of the best hotels in the city, which cost $50 a night. I found an internet cafe across the road where I could take care once a day of my messages, and then I started finding restaurants and bookshops and benches that felt comfortable and welcoming. Quite often, I would just sit in the middle of the main drag right outside my hotel and let Bolivia come to me. The grace of that trip was that I had nowhere specific I needed to go. I could just catch my breath, collect my thoughts, recollect my loved ones, and step out of my life for a while to see it more clearly and to prepare to return to it with more energy and direction. Part of the liberation of any journey comes in living at a different pace and on a different scale from normal. In a way, to travel through time as much as through space. We have recharging stations all over for our devices, but not for what usually most needs them, which is ourselves. So often we're in such a hurry, we can't see what a hurry we're in. But Bolivia lives at a slower pace, and I noticed how even at 12,000 feet above sea level, I was seldom out of breath.